Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Linguistics for Language Learners. My name's Alex. In this episode, we'll get into the first sounds. So we've introduced the table, the one-page guide of the International Phonetic Alphabet. And here we have the table at the top, the table of consonants. A lot going on in this table, but we'll now break it down into its simplest elements. So, what is a consonant? Consonant is one of the two major divisions of types of sound in language, consonants and vowels. And the basic difference, with a vowel, you have an open mouth. You simply change the shape of your mouth, and that creates the different sounds. But with a consonant, you have some kind of closure, some kind of blockage, something that is stopping or blocking the air as you breathe out. So that's what this table's about. There are two main variables that we can use to describe a consonant. Since they're all about some kind of blockage or closure, one question we can ask is, what kind of blockage, what kind of closure are we talking about? You could say, how? How are you blocking the air? And the other thing we can do is to say where we're making the blockage. But starting with the how, we can look at now the first type, and that is the plosive. Plosive is the simplest type of closure because it is a complete closure. You completely close your mouth, and then you push air past it, and you explode open the closure, and that's why it's called plosive. It's like explosive. So the other variable, the columns on the table, tell you where in the mouth you are making this closure. Different locations will then make different consonants. But everything in this row, in this plosives row, is made by having a complete closure that's then exploded open. So the first location we'll look at, the simplest, one that babies start with, is what's called bilabial, because every term in this table needs to have a complex Latin title, but you could also simply call it lips, bilabial, two lips. Well, when we say lips, we mean two lips. So when you hear this word bilabial, sounds very phonetic, but it basically just means lips. Now, imagine, what will you get? You close your lips, then you push air past them, exploding them open. Puh. Puh. You get the letter P. Simple as that. So, congratulations, there's the very first sound of the International Phonetic Alphabet that you can clearly understand and use. For example, a word like panther. Because I started with cat, so I'm going with all cat examples here. So now you can see the P at the beginning of that word, and that is the same. It's very convenient that it is written exactly like the English letter P. It's not always that convenient, certainly. Certainly, you're happy when you can get one of these sounds that matches the English letter. That makes things easy. So now you can imagine the same pattern extended to different possible locations. If a letter P is created when you close and explode open the lips, then you can do the same with different parts of your mouth and get other sounds. So next, we'll look at what's called alveolar. Another fancy Latin term, but I like to use the simple term gum. Alveolar refers to the alveolar ridge, which is sort of a bump of a gum behind your top front teeth. And many people think of these sounds as simply being made on the teeth themselves, but typically, and certainly in English, we make them by using the gum behind the front teeth. So if you imagine, place your tongue on the gum behind your top front teeth, make a complete closure, and then breathe air past it and explode open the closure. And what do you get? Ta. Ta. That is the letter T, as in tiger. So, that's two of them. Only one more in this episode, and that is the third of the three most common locations for consonants, and that is what's called velar. Now this is very confusing because it sounds very close to alveolar, alveolar, velar. This refers to the velum, which is the soft back of the top of your mouth, sometimes also called the soft palate, because the palate is the roof of your mouth. The front of the palate is the hard palate, and the back is the soft palate. And so, speaking very loosely, we can simply call it the back. It is the back of the top of your mouth. Now, in this case, we are not moving the tip of our tongue back, but simply the back of our tongue is touching the back of the top of the mouth. So if you do that, move the back of your tongue against the back of the top of your mouth to make a complete closure, and then breathe past it to explode open the closure. Ka. Ka. We get the letter K, as in cat. So there you go. These three sounds are the simple beginning, but if you understand why they are where they are on the table, you're really more than halfway there to understanding how this whole table works. These are the only three plosives, three locations for plosives that we have in English, but you can imagine if by placing your tongue in other places, you can possibly make other plosives that are made with other parts of the mouth that you can find in other languages. But we'll get to that later. And that's it. Thanks for listening. See you next time.